There was a big story yesterday, RCMP involved. We had the Sûreté Québec involved. It seems a variety of police forces involved as well. Nearly 400 officers actually involved in yesterday's raid, at 3 bars in northern Montreal and a construction company as well. Apparently what's going on here, it's the stuff you would imagine typically happens, right? They say these organizations dabble in cocaine trafficking, money laundering, and illegal gambling, but who are they? Let's try to find out. We are joined by Pietro Poletti, retired Montreal Police detective and mafia expert. Pietro, nice to have you back. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
So let me begin because perspective is important. So let's begin with who these people are. I mean, 400 officers. That's not the kind of thing you read every week or every month.
Actually, it was a precedent. I've never seen that in my career. Bringing officers from Vancouver across Canada. There was a lot of bells and whistles. It was actually a show of force. I'm very skeptical about long-term investigations. Canadian policing doesn't have a very good track record on that. But anyway, having said that, the crime family that was targeted was the Lopez and Oliveira family. They were always under the radar. They've been active for over 30 years.
Oh.
Not on their own, in accordance with other crime clans in Montreal and in North America and Canada, with ties worldwide, South America.
So in a raid of this size, as you said, unprecedented as far as you can remember, and you've been doing this for a long time, what does that tell us?
Well, what does it tell us? It's either the rule book has changed. The playbook has changed following the Jordan decision in the Supreme Court of Canada, because cases have to be expeditious following an arrest. So they gather information. They execute search warrants under 487 of the Criminal Code. I hope it's not a fishing expedition. It was obviously a huge show of force. It's the first time I see that they have to bring officers from across the country, SWAT teams from across the countries. Where in Quebec we have them. Montreal has many teams, so does the SQ. So I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. Let's hope that the end result will show what the evidence gathered when it's presented in court.
To what you said, Pietro, a minute ago, this idea that, we're bringing in officers, you said, from as far away as Vancouver. So I know the arrests were made in Montreal, but why would someone unless these drugs are, I guess, obviously being exported across the country or sold across the country, I wonder, too, has the situation crime-wise here, and I know we've talked about gangs in the past, has it gotten bigger and bigger? Because, you keep hearing from the police here, and we have Fatty Daguerre on from time to time saying these things look like they're more under control now than ever. Is that accurate, do you think? Or is this getting out of hand again? And I know you mentioned there's so many different groups now from different parts, different clans, different parts of the world. That's still the case?
No, I think the situation's getting worse with various other gangs joining in. But the fact that they brought groups... SWAT teams from across the country, they're not related to the investigation. I really don't know. I was talking to other veteran officers, and either there's a lack of trust with the Montreal Police Department or SQ. They didn't want any information to leak.
Oh.
Those, I really don't know. 400 officers. There's been cases, Codice, where you had probably even more, or during the Carcajou era, the Wolverine in the 90s. And we always used hundreds of officers from Quebec, Laval, or the fact of bringing officers from across the country, it costs a lot of money, first of all. I really don't understand. I saw it more as a show of force. The clan that's targeted, yes, one of the top, I would say, 5 across the country. They were always under the radar, always in accordance with the Ritsuto clan, and cooperated also with the Scopas, Andrew Scopa. So it was a powerful group. But, the fact that they executed warrants and interrogated people doesn't mean that they got a case.
Okay. I will ask you, though, I see that one of the RCMP investigators said that this clan that you're describing, you said the Lopez clan here, they are part of or were within, he said, the Montreal mafia. That's the case?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they work together?
They work together. They participate in joint ventures. They network together. But it was a separate crew from the Ritsudo. They always work separately. It wasn't it wasn't part of one organization. That's, I mentioned various times, there's various organizations in Montreal, various clans. They get along when business is going well, but it doesn't mean necessarily that they'll always get along.
What else? I mean, in terms of, I know we talked last time. I'm trying to remember the man's name, the one who got shot in Saint Jean sur Richelieu. Gregory, you'll have to help me there.
Willie Gregory.
Willie,
yes.
Greg Willie. And I'm thinking, and I know there's always fallout when this happens, one gang to another. What's happened since then that you're aware of?
The problem today, Mr. Ren, is that they have to outsource, especially to commit crimes, murder. I don't want to use the police jargon of saying it to eliminate someone. They outsource and they reach out to street gangs, and their technique of doing things is totally different from traditional organized crime. I wouldn't say that they're sloppy, dangerous, broad daylight. We're looking today at a different phase, if you want to call it organized crime or disorganized crime, as it is right now in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And this is where it's dangerous because the law enforcement doesn't know where to go knock. There's so many groups and that work separately and don't get along. And there's, guns are available, drugs. There's so much drugs in Montreal now with the new synthetic drugs, fentanyl. We're living in difficult times, very difficult. And this operation that took place yesterday, I think, was more of a show of force.
Yeah. And I think
the RCMP.
The RCMP is also saying, by the way, I think one of the quotes in the story was, by the way, don't expect there to be necessarily anything new coming down. They're in the middle of an investigation, so there's a lot more to go with this. And you're right. If it was a show of force, I guess that's sending out a message to these gangs, hey, we know what's going on, and don't be surprised if this keeps happening.
Yes, but that could have also consequences because you got to follow through. If you wait for years and years to charge somebody, that tactic could, ricochet and come right back.
Yeah. I will point out something else. You were just talking about how bad it is, guns and drugs on the street in the city, and I'm sure it's everywhere, not just here. But again, the city, the police chief has made a point of saying, and they had statistics come out, I think only a couple of weeks ago, showing gun crimes are down. They seized more guns than ever before. Are you suggesting, Pietro, that's just, it's a story and nothing much more than that?
When they seize weapons, I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody gets arrested for conjugal violence, and he's a gun collector, and the suspect is a gun collector. So they'll seize his weapons if he's got 80 weapons at home, and it's happened in the past. Well, those 80 guns will fall within the statistics of the guns seized that are related to
same
gangs.
Category. Okay,
the same category. So we got to watch their statistics and their embellished truth. And I think the chief and they're playing with the statistics too much. And if we ask the citizens walking the streets of Montreal, the metro, they'll tell you that crime is out of control.
What do you think? I mean, you're a citizen. You're out there. You see what's going on. You believe crime is getting no better, as you just said. Now, is it out of control in Montreal?
I don't blame the police officers. Yeah, absolutely, because we've changed the notion of policing in Montreal in the sense that police officers today are targeted to give traffic tickets, traffic violations, and to respond to calls. The notion of patrolling in Montreal doesn't exist. Officers don't patrol or don't stop somebody in the middle of the street to ask them a question. Obviously, if you haven't committed an offense, you don't have to answer. But you're allowed asking somebody, what are you doing here? And this applies also to the homeless. Even though they claim we have 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 homeless, I want to know how many of these people, individuals, have criminal records, are wanted. They'll never answer that question because they don't verify them.
Okay.
And it's in the old days of policing. When I say old days, it's not a century ago. 10, 15 years ago,
Right.
we had to verify people. We had to know what was going on in the sector of patrol. So policing has changed. Basically, officers are asked not to rock the boat, and this is what's happening now. It's the crime isn't getting better. It's getting worse. People are scared to take the metro. Some metro stations are closed after 7. Water after 7 at night, it's closed because people are sleeping or people are scared. So we have a problem. It's about time somebody's going to address it, hopefully as soon as possible.
We have to leave it at that. Pietro, as always, appreciate your time. It's good talking to you.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Be well. Pietro Poletti, retired Montreal Police detective. You heard what he said. Crime is getting worse, not better.